Okay. Okay, guys. This should clear up any confusion, because confusing people is the opposite of what I'm trying to do. Some of these guys, they just want to hate. Not all the guys. Some are decent people who respect another person's choice to drive what they want. These other guys, they seem to think that they're the only ones that matter, and if you don't have modified motors, you don't deserve any respect. I like my Traxxas. I like my Traxxas Revo. And some people, they just want it to go away. But this is what I can afford, so that's why I drive the Traxxas Revo. And it looks like a monster truck, so. Okay. So let's take a look at this here. This is your high-speed needle, Traxxas. High-speed needle. So when you turn that down in there, clockwise, that's turning that down in there, bringing this down, restricting this. It's restricting the fuel flow in here. You want to start with your factory settings, like the Traxxas. This needle here, it's 4 turns out. So you turn it down in there gently till it stops. Don't be cranking on it. Just turn it down in there gently till it stops. And back it out 4 turns. Your low speed needle, that's where your low speed needle should be set. Flush with the slide. See the slide? I've got it shown with this screw way out, so that would be too rich. But this is your factory settings right here. So that's what you want to start out with. See, I've got high speed needle in orange, low speed needle in orange, so you can better see. When people say lean it out, that means turn this down in there clockwise, a little bit at a time. 1 hour, test it. 1 hour, test it. 1 hour, test it. See, clockwise is leaner. You're bringing that down, you're restricting this fuel flow here. The fuel flow going into your carb. Same with the low speed. But this is a little bit more fine adjustment, so that would be more like 1/2 hour. Drive it. 1/2 hour. Drive it. 1/2 hour. Drive it. You see what I'm saying? Just a little bit at a time. Here's your idle screw. You turn that clockwise. When you're turning that in there clockwise, that pushes the slide open, making this gap bigger. I don't have it drawn in there so you can see, so I can show you this operation better of your idle gap. When you turn that in there clockwise, that pushes that open, making your idle higher. Same if you go counterclockwise. Turn it counterclockwise. That brings it back in, making this gap smaller. Less idle speed. Your RPMs go down. See? Now the air goes in here. Fuel goes in here. Fuel and air are now mixed. You got a rubber O-ring. There's a rubber O-ring in there. That keeps the air from leaking in. Keeps the fuel from leaking out. You don't want anything but fuel in here. This is all fuel. All fuel in here. No air. your low-speed needle, it has a rubber O-ring in here too. I didn't draw it, but it's in here. It's like this high-speed needle. There's a rubber O-ring in there. That keeps the air from leaking in. Your idle gap I don't have a paper clip, but this is pretty close to a paper clip. So if you put that down in there, gently put that down in there, and you adjust it so it just barely slides in there. That's a good starting point. But you want to look in your manual for your idle gap. So carefully adjust it. So this is this gap here. Carefully. You don't want to be jamming anything in there, but carefully. That's how you adjust your gap. But like I said, in your manual, maybe it'll have more information about where your idle gap is. So that should clear up any questions that you have. And also, if you have a little bit of a, like this slides in there pretty easy, you got a pretty big gap in there. I'm showing you a pretty big gap here, just so you can see. That'd be a high idle right there. But just so you can see, I'm showing you a big gap in here. But if you got where this slides in there easily, that would be better than a smaller gap, because you adjust your low speed needle. You adjust your low speed needle out counterclockwise. That richens it. That's more of a safe adjustment. If you're new to the nitro hobby, that would be a better adjustment to start with. So if it's a big gap here, it's better than a small gap. So when you turn this out with this big gap, not this big, but you'll have a big gap, and when you turn this out, that'll richen that and bring your idle down. That's a safer point to start with. So that should clear up any questions that you have.